President-elect announcing how he will separate his incoming administration from the Trump Organization. Now, that put the issue to rest for most Republicans, but it has drawn criticism from Democrats. I want to play for you, Kellyanne, what Senator Elizabeth Warren told me yesterday and get your response. Take a listen.
I'm more concerned now than ever because he's not moving where he needs to move. And that is, we need to have him divest. He needs to get rid of his business interests, and he needs to put them in what's called a blind trust.
Kellyanne, what do you make of that?
That's typical rhetoric from Senator Elizabeth Warren, who's very hostile to the free market. As you know, Donald Trump is something she's never been, a job creator, a successful businessman who has significant assets and holdings across many continents, and great responsibilities, really, to his employees, to his children, who own part of the business, or I assume will one day. And what Donald Trump has done yesterday, and it was all announced, transparent for the entire Bloomberg audience to see, Kevin, so they can pull up his attorney Sherry Dillon's full statement. What Donald Trump did yesterday is extraordinary by any measure. He basically said any deals already in the pipeline have been terminated, even if they were close to being completed or in negotiations, that new deals will not be pursued. New foreign deals will not be pursued at all by his successors, his temporary successors, Don Jr. and Eric, his sons. He also has already sold off things that are easily sellable, things that are easy to liquidate, publicly held stock. But, you know, so as your viewers, your sophisticated viewers certainly know, selling real estate is not like selling a stock. And so with other assets, they will be put in the trust. That would be cash and some other holdings, for example. He also made very clear that he will not have any type of say on anything that's going on with respect to the Trump Organization. No talk of the deals, no talk of the profits, no talk of personnel, et cetera. And this is just an extraordinary move because we just are not accustomed to this. We are accustomed to having presidents who are politicians, many of them professional politicians, who move from political job to political job to political job. There's no consideration in having to move around billions of dollars in assets.
But Kellyanne, I want to ask you specifically about turning over the company to Don Jr. as well as Eric, because you know how close the Trump family is. So is it realistic, I guess, to think that you can build a Chinese wall through this family that is so close and that they won't talk about these business deals in the Trump administration? How do you ease concerns of folks who are uneasy about that?
Well, partisans will never be convinced because they'll always have their fake political concerns. We can't do anything about people who just don't want to look at the truth and the facts. So that's always going to exist. But Kevin, for those who want to see a transparent and open process, they need to look at the fact that Donald Trump is going to talk to his children, but not about business. I think Donald Trump put it best in an on-the-record interview back in November at the New York Times, where he said if it was up to some people, he would never talk to his children again. That's not going to happen, but what are they discussing? They won't be discussing the business and the business deals. And let's be very clear, Don Jr. and Eric have been respected, valued, wildly successful executives at the Trump Organization for a number of years already. This is not on-the-job training. This is not new for them. This is what they do every single day. They'll just be doing it at, I guess, without their father. They'll be doing it without their father there. So I think people should not be presumptively negative and skeptical and just give it a chance to really sink in. It's an enormous sacrifice for President-elect Trump.
There's also this appointee to an ethics advisor who will have to be overseeing all of those deals. And I want to get a timeline on this. Are we going to have a name for that advisor before inauguration? Are there names that you can share with us? When will that be announced and laid out?
I'm not in the position today to share the name of that ethics advisor, but it's so important to build independence and third-party stewardship within this new structure. And they've done that in terms of the ethics advisor. And so that too should make people feel much more comfortable that you'll have an independent person in there, in addition to his sons, in addition to his employee of many years, Alan Weisselberg, who's a deeply respected, a long time, decades-long, 40-some years employee of the Trump Organization.